car's gonna pick you up, all right?
ICE then arrested this Salvadoran illegal alien who was previously convicted of child rape. He was deported in 2017 after he went to prison and illegally re-entered the U.S. He was found living right next to this children's playground. They also arrested this Colombian illegal alien, facing pending charges for sexual assault of a child. Meanwhile, away from our cameras, another ICE team arrested this Guatemalan illegal alien, who's facing charges in Massachusetts for aggravated child rape, but was released from state custody. They also arrested this Honduran alien, who's facing local charges for rape.
So you guys just snagged a previously deported, convicted child rapist living 100 yards from a child's playground. Is that unusual out here?
Not in Massachusetts.
The question before us is no longer political. It's existential. Can the United States of America survive the sabotage inflicted from within by its own institutions under the stewardship of the Biden administration? We stand not on the edge of reform, but on the brink of collapse. The very mechanisms of law, meant to safeguard the citizen, have been twisted into tools of submission. The judiciary, once a guardian of liberty, now functions as the high priesthood of decline, cloaking betrayal in procedural formality and weaponizing justice against the nation it was sworn to protect. Under the illusion of legality, our borders were pried open, not to welcome the tired and poor yearning to breathe free, but to facilitate a mass influx of unvetted foreign bodies, erasing any distinction between guest and invader. This was not immigration, it was incursion, strategic, sanctioned, and sustained. Let no one misunderstand, this was done on purpose. It was not compassion, it was conquest, not benevolence, betrayal. Behind the mask of legalism, America's sovereignty was auctioned off. Her cultural identity diluted, her citizens replaced in rhetoric, then in policy. The architects of this policy were not misguided. They were methodical. They used the very virtues of the American people, tolerance, fairness, openness, as a weapon. And now those virtues, if left unguarded, will become the noose by which the republic hangs. We must confront a terrible truth. If the law no longer defends the citizen, but instead punishes them, if it exalts the criminal and shields the foreigner, then the law has become a suicide pact. And if tyranny wears a black robe, then it is not a symbol of justice. It is the uniform of occupation. The judges who voided detainers, the prosecutors who refused to charge, the bureaucrats who erased distinctions between citizen and outsider, none of them acted in error. They acted in concert. This is not a policy failure. It is a coordinated campaign of cultural and national erosion. A system built on checks and balances cannot survive when one branch, our judiciary, is wholly captured and repurposed to serve an ideological vendetta. A wheel with a shattered spoke cannot carry the weight of a republic. And when that wheel collapses, so too does the vehicle of the nation. But collapse does not happen in silence. It happens to applause, from the political class intent on balkanizing America into competing tribes, from the media machine that reframes invasion as equity, from the institutions that teach our children that the American identity is shameful, and its defenders are oppressors. The America that once stood as a beacon, a unified English-speaking nation built on merit, work ethic, and cultural coherence, has been hollowed out. In its place stands a diversity cult where coexistence is no longer an ideal, but a tool of dispossession, where equity means confiscation, where wealth is not earned but seized from the host, where the very act of national defense is labeled extremism. This is no accident, it is the design. The Democratic Party has not merely allowed this, they have orchestrated it. They have used America's tolerance as a battering ram, forcing open the gates to mobs that will ensure permanent political control through demographic conquest. It is a war of attrition waged with ballots, not bullets. But the casualties are no less real. This is not merely the betrayal of a nation. It is its dismantling, brick by brick, block by block. I have watched it unfold not in headlines or history books, but from my own front porch. What was once a stable, middle-class neighborhood, anchored by legal immigrants who spoke English, respected the law, and embraced the American ideal, has now been overrun. Not gradually, not subtly, but as a deliberate, coordinated transformation. The homes that once held families now serve as informal hostels for waves of indigents, imported en masse from third-world nations. They arrive not to contribute, but to consume. Not to integrate, but to displace. They speak no English, follow no laws, and show no desire to become part of the American story, because they were never asked to. They were ushered in under the guise of compassion, but make no mistake, this was not a humanitarian gesture. It was demographic warfare. The Democratic Party, in full cooperation with captured institutions, didn't just fail to prevent this, they engineered it. And in doing so, they didn't just betray their constituents, they betrayed the very idea of America. Fairfax County, once a symbol of prosperity and assimilation, has become a cautionary tale. A place where truth is buried under bureaucratic lies, where theft is excused as need, and where crime is no longer an aberration, it is the atmosphere. The line between criminal and victim has blurred because the system no longer seeks to distinguish. It excuses, it protects, and it punishes only those who dare to speak out. This is not the natural course of immigration. This is not diversity. This is conquest masquerading as compassion. And if we tolerate it, if we continue to rationalize, excuse, or look the other way, then we are not just complicit. We are participants in our own undoing. Tolerance in the face of deliberate destruction is not a virtue. It is surrender. We are told coexistence is the goal, but coexistence has become a euphemism for capitulation, where the host society is expected to abandon its language, customs, and laws to appease those who neither respect nor understand them. Where the law-abiding citizen is silenced and the foreign lawbreaker is shielded, there is no middle ground left. Either we reclaim our neighborhoods, our institutions, and our national identity, or we allow them to be auctioned off piece by piece until there is nothing left but the memory of what we once were. The time for tolerance is over. Because tolerance unchecked will be the death of the Republic. We must now choose: submit and dissolve quietly into history, or fight and reclaim what remains. The institutions will not save us. They are the infection. Restoration cannot come from within the rot. It must come from the people, those who still recognize the difference between justice and complicity, between governance and treason, between a citizen and an invader. Invaders are not immigrants, and those who serve invaders over citizens are not public servants. They are agents of collapse, conductors of a slow, calculated poison. And poison only wins when no one rises to purge it. The time for politeness is over. The time for patience is done. The survival of this nation demands clarity, courage, and confrontation. Not in whispers, but in a voice loud enough to rattle the foundations of every courtroom, every chamber, and every corrupt institution that chose betrayal over duty. America will not be saved by those who sold her. She will be saved by those willing to tear down what they built when it turns against them.